Welcome to the CURES digital show and podcast, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness. I'm Kara Sundlin. This episode is sponsored by the Center for Advanced Reproductive Services. So, do you want to lose the midlife weight gain? Well, my guest today is Gianna Maselli. She's an expert on losing weight after 50. She claims we can even have our best body without dieting, counting calories, suffering, or medicine. Apparently, it's all in the menu. Welcome, Gianna. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. It sure looks like you did your homework on me. That is my claim.
Yeah. And I know you've been through it yourself, but you say women are really doing it all wrong, and not our fault. We don't know what to do, but what specifically are we doing wrong, and how do you lose fat when hormones are at play?
Well, I could talk for hours, but I'll give you the quick rundown. We have been programmed to believe that if we have symptoms, it's a medical problem. And we have never been taught the nutrition of the physiology of how our bodies work. If I could wave a magic wand, I should just do this anyway and create a curriculum, because if girls learn this in high school or college, it would save them a lifetime of struggling with the dieting. So the things we're doing wrong is thinking, oh, I have this symptom. What should I take for this? And that's the number one question that gets asked of me. It's in my DMs, it's in my emails and everything. What can I take for this? And insert miserable menopause symptom, which they now allege there's like 35 to 40 of them. And so it happened to me. No one is like, oh, I'm going to be a menopause expert. So when I turned 40, I was looking amazing. And I was in New York City. I used to live in Westchester, so I'm very familiar with Connecticut. I wanted to get on the radio. I wanted to do more things. I wanted to expand my life and my business. And one of my clients said, you look great for turning 40. Why don't you write a book on how to look good over 40? And I'm from Chicago. I didn't even know what a blowout was until I moved to New York in my 30s. So I thought it would be this book, like, kind of like beauty secrets, like, California and New York has more beauty secrets than we do in the Midwest. And as I began to write this book that year, I was turning 41, I packed on the pounds like this. And I was like, oh my God, I can't put out this book. I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel pretty. And I went up 4 sizes in 6 months.
Wow. Yeah. And I think a lot of women relate. They're like, why am I gaining weight? I'm not doing anything differently. And you say it's really the hormones, but we can fix them with food?
Well, it is and it isn't. So I did what everybody does. You go to the gym, you start with a trainer, you alter your food, you get those magazines, Shape and bodybuilding and all that kind of stuff. And I was seeing a trainer and I got muscles, but under my fat. So that only made my clothes tighter. And I was, oh my God. And I was saying exactly what you're saying. Why is this happening to me? Because you think you're doing so much. And it ends up making you feel only more broken. And then eventually I did boxing. I went to one of those medical weight loss centers in Scarsdale, New York. And, those are really for obese people. I wasn't obese, but I was desperate because it had been 2 years at this point that I was really trying. And you go on MetaFast, Fox Foods, they do B12 shots once a week. And this is very, very expensive. It's $3,000 just to start, and about $300 or $400 a week for the food and the shots. And over the course of 12 weeks, I didn't lose a single pound. I went down 5 pounds and went back up. And then I got my first hot flush. So now by this time I was 43, almost 44. And I was like, wow, could this be menopause? And so what do? We think of Suzanne Summers, right? And I had heard Suzanne on a radio show when I was like, 37, and she sounded like she knew what she was talking about. And I said to myself in my head, oh, when I need this, I'll look at Suzanne Summers, because she talks about the natural, and that's what I wanted. And I read her book and I just didn't agree with everything in her book. My logical brain said to myself, this is a natural life transition. So why would I need substances in my body to do it? I also did go see the people at, I don't want to say any names, but the BHRT people, and they do a full panel. I'm sure every single woman is going through this. They do a full panel, and all the doctor said was your progesterone's a little low, but that's it. But hey, take these $500 a month worth of drugs, of hormones. And when I didn't know what a hormone was, that sounded very scary to me, like, well, what's it going to do? So I asked a question, what's it going to do to my body? And I must have been the only person who ever asked him this, because he was like a deer in the headlights with no answer. And a lot of my research is based on my own mother, who spent most of her life overweight, then had reproductive issues. I don't want to get graphic on the TV show here, but reproductive issues for 2 years straight, where she finally had an emergency D&C. So what I know now, I wish I had known then. I was only 21 when that happened. She did everything wrong. And a lot of women are doing the wrong things. And that is not asking questions. You're very blindly just accepting these meds and this protocol without asking, what's it going to do for me?
Yeah, so let's talk about a few things that really work. You have 8 steps that you say you lost the fat. It started to work. So give us a little bit of the magic sauce.
Well, it's calories in and calories out is what I like to refer to as being in the light. That's easy and it's obvious. But if it's not working for you, you've got to go looking under the hood. I like to say under the hood, like if your car's not running, you're going to lift up the hood and see what's going on. And so under the hood is from the moment you put food in your mouth, food and beverages, to the places it exits and what's going on in between. So fortunately, this angel of a woman came into my life, and I don't even remember her name, and I feel terrible about that, where we were just having a conversation. And I was venting about how hard it was now that I was 45 and I still had not lost this weight. Maybe I wasn't 45 yet, but it had been like 4 years. So somewhere on the cusp of my birthday. And she said, oh, you have to look at your metabolics. And I'm like, well, I never heard of those. And I'd already been to all these doctors, endocrinologists, internists, the gynecologists, MDs, and nothing was working. And so her partner had a baby in their 40s. It's hard to lose baby weight in your 40s. And so she's, oh, my partner lost, 45 pounds, 60 pounds, maybe in 6 months. So I was riveted to her information. And so I learned about what the metabolics are. And so it's how everything is working. So your liver, your gut health, and gut health is thrown around Facebook these days, like with a lot of MLMs, and people think they know what it means, but they don't really. Your gut health is really the hormone messaging center. So it's where it's a command center where everything is sent out. So if you have poor gut health, that's really an umbrella over so many more malaise, as I like to call them. So nearly every one of the menopause symptoms, I attacked, what is the root cause of this? What is the root cause of that? And the only one that I would really attribute, is that you do get the vaginal dryness, and they have things for that you can use estrogen. I choose not to. I like to find me a sexy guy that's going to be, paying attention to me and having a good relationship. And when I feel good about myself, I feel sexy. And how do we get, juiced up for sex? It's in our head first, before it's any direct cause. So when you feel good about yourself and you want to be with someone, your libido is going to be better. When you have energy, your libido is better. And so looking at the root cause, so when you asked about the metabolics, it's how your liver is processing, because as your body is now going into your 40s, heading into menopause, which is a 10-year long process for the most part. So, that's almost like 1/8 of your life. If you really look at it,
right,
you would want to be doing everything you can.
So let's talk about that. I just want, for those who are listening, and to avoid them having to do all the different, you went to 8 different doctors, spent years, and now you've I know you've got some programs, and we're going to talk about that. You have a new book, How to Get Your Best Body Over 50, Even in Menopause, Without Dieting, Counting Calories, Suffering, or Hormone Replacement Therapy. But for the people who are listening right now, what should they do? What's step one? You get a metabolic panel and talk about some of the foods that you want to.
No, I think of it like you probably want a life raft sent to you right now. So what can you do? When you assess your metabolics, there's things you can do from the comfort of your own home. When you get these hormone panels and blood tests and things, they're really just that moment in time. And you have to also look at, so I told you I got a hormone panel, but who's deciding what the numbers should be? Because as I learned in my research, they're taking the numbers of what's normal from women 18 to 80. So as a 55-year-old or a 50-year-old or a 45-year-old, would you want your hormones compared to that spectrum? No, but I think it's a sales tool. That's just my personal opinion, because what he was telling me, I like to say to the ladies this, of course my hormones they're lower. they're going to say they're low, but there's a difference between low and lower. My body knows I'm running out of eggs. I'm not going to be the same as the ladies in their 30s and their 20s. So it's not a fair comparison. I like to look at symptoms. Let's assess the symptoms because we can go to the root cause of symptoms. So let's talk about why is the weight gain happening? Because that's really weight gain, hot flashes, brain fog, anxiety. These can all be explained under the umbrella of women not getting quality, digested, and thus utilized protein. So the systems are breaking down. And so now that you're in your menopause years, your body is excreting it's getting rid of these hormones as they shift around through your liver. If your liver, which is one of your metabolism, your metabolics, if it's not working optimally, it's going to not process the estrogen, which breaks down into different metabolites. It's going to take a few more spins through your bloodstream until that happens. And it's going to accelerate your hot flashes. I just did a podcast last night about understanding hot flashes. So it's so much more than like, here's a 5-minute discussion. So I have this book to introduce the ladies to the concept. So throwing you a life raft, you've got to lower your insulin, lower your estrogen, and lower your cortisol. You do those 3 things, you're going to be golden. So, okay, Gianna, how do I do those things? Lower your insulin. You've got to address your cravings, which could come from having SIBO. That's poor bacteria in your gut. You could be sugar addicted. We all know if you eat more sugar, your body's going to want more sugar. It might be that you have candida. Women are more susceptible to that, and that's going to send cravings to your brain to feed the candida. So the first thing I do is I like to go with my supplement products, and the first thing I like to do is I say, send in the firefighters. Let's put out the fire in your gut health. Send in the firefighters to put out the fire, and then we send in the paramedics, and that would be probiotics and prebiotics. Now we've got to repair, the paramedics repair your gut health, send in those things to give you good gut health. So that's going to help improve your cravings. If you're not craving bad foods and craving them often, you're going to lower your insulin.
Okay, so it is repairing the gut. And we've done a lot of CURES on that with Dr. Artemis Morris, who's a naturopath. So, we've got your book, but with women who are listening, and I just want to, they're going to be like, well, what can I do right now? Part of it is, even I know there's a lot to be learned in more time than we have here, but making sure, what about exercise? I know exercise affects insulin. What do you recommend in your book that women do? Maybe the top 3 things to get started, to start rewinding.
They're not going to like it. They never like it when I say this, but coffee is extraordinarily detrimental to menopause women. Yes, it has some oxidative effects, but that gets all negated. Coffee is dripping on your central nervous system constantly. So your body is always in the state of fight or flight. So it's raising the cortisol. The cortisol gets calmed because your adrenals are robbing your progesterone, and now your progesterone's walking out the door. And so the best thing, quit coffee. Coffee robs your body of its minerals. You have to get Zen sleep, and that means you've got to put down the screens. Don't turn on the lights once the sun goes down, because that starts stirring up your melatonin, and make your bed like the most wonderful place ever. You've got to get that cortisol down, as I said, in the cortisol. And the third one, exercise is great, but if your adrenals are burnt out, which they mostly are, exercise is only going to hurt that. So you've got to get the metabolics under control before you can address the exercise. It's not going to help at all, which is why I took boxing for 6 months, 3 times a week, $1,000 a month with private trainers, and I didn't lose 1 single pound.
Okay, so basically you ended up losing a bunch of weight, and now you wrote a book and you have a course about it, and you would say you lost 40 pounds. Okay, and you think you actually have you have better energy and a better body, you think, now than you did before.
I never could have dreamed I would feel this good, have this kind of energy, because it's not just about fitting into a bikini. And a lot of ladies say to me, oh, you weren't that fat. Well, I was plenty fat. I said, go to the gym and pick up 2 20-pound weights and see how much 40 pounds weighs. I was so sick, like my immune system was compromised. Then I was so tired that I could hardly ever get out of bed. So that was affecting my income. So I like to say, I talk about menopause and money, because we have to work longer, right? You know, I'm 55 years old. I have to work. You have to work. We need to bring the energy and the vitality to whether we own our own business, to our customers, our clients, or our workplace, because the younger ladies are going to have it. And if you're cranky and, you know, not pleasant, if you're calling in sick, if your productivity is affected because of hot flashes, you're not going to be valuable to the marketplace.
So if we do some of the things that you mentioned in your book, and I want to let folks know what that is again, I'll give you a chance to shout it out. How long does it take to turn it around? People always want to know, how long until I'm feeling better?
It is possible that you could feel better in 3 days, because if you change your meals and you get the toxins out. Oh, there's one more thing I want to say when I was coming up with what I was going to tell you. You've got to get rid of I call it the SOS, the pleasure trap, salt, oil, sugar, which includes seed oils, which are in all processed foods. So we all know not to eat processed foods. We're just not doing it. I mean, I'm not affected by the 600,000 frankenfoods in the middle. I go to the ends, you know, we know that. This is making your brain desire these things. So in 3 days, you could be detoxified from these things. In 3 weeks, you could change your metabolism. And in 3 months, you could have a whole new body. You could be down 3 sizes, possibly, sometimes a size the first month. Once you clean up, it is possible. And I have ladies, like when I cleaned up my diet, I lost 7 pounds the first week. And you're not going to do that every week, but when you clean up, it's possible. And even though some of it's water weight, it sure is exciting to see that on the scale, especially when the scale had not moved for 4 years.
And it's, as you said, not just about weight, it's about health. So getting all those hormones in balance is going to help you, especially, you know, diabetes, all these things are a huge problem in our country. So getting that in check. You want us to get back to nature, but it's not necessarily simple. So I guess there's a bunch of steps that you want people to know. Does it involve taking, other than probiotics, does it involve taking a lot of supplements? Like, talk about what you do in a day. What do you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Well, I just have a drink that is aminos. It's a cafe mocha flavored. So I've never been a coffee drinker, but I like to sit and have a hot drink while I check emails. It's soothing. Mostly we want the soothing. I mean, coffee isn't really good unless we add the dairy and sugar to it. So I have that, and that is 100% wonderful for my body. I clean my gut every single day, morning and night. We have an imbalance of omega-6 and 9 to the 3. We need more 3s, where normally the standard American diet is 17 of 6 and 9s to like 1 of the 3. So we've got to get that balanced. Probiotics are so essential for losing weight, balancing your gut. They are literally what will help you lose fat. What else do I take?
Which probiotics can people buy? People ask me that all the time, and I have one that my naturopath prescribed for me. But like in general, if you want to go to the store today and pick up some probiotics, what do you advise to people?
No, I work with a very high level doctor brand, physician's level. So I have a membership, so I promote that in there. It has to be something that has an encasement that's going to bypass your stomach acid and not explode until it gets into your intestines. So that's where it's useful. Also, we lose stomach acid as we age. So there's ladies that say, oh, it can't help aging. Well, you can and you can't. So I take digestive enzymes, pancreatic enzymes. So all this helps. So it all helps if you just focus on the glands. The glands will then produce the hormones. So the adrenals are the backup system when your ovaries shut down, but our adrenals are taxed and stressed by our lifestyles, by our poor diets, and we're making them work too hard. So if we treated our adrenals like we do our cell phones, there would be no miserable women in the world anymore.
And I know it's a complex thing. I want to refer people to, if you go back to a previous CURES, we did something on adrenal fatigue. And so would you encourage people, if they're living here and they're listening, and obviously your book, but would you encourage going to a functional doctor or a naturopathic doctor to kind of just help you through all this?
I do not, because I went to them And when I went to the first chiropractor, as per my mother's advice, I didn't even know what chiropractors did back then, was a very overweight man. And all he did was ask me, what are my symptoms, and take these vitamins. And it was maybe 5 or 6 vitamins. I took them for 3 months. They didn't do anything. It was $400 a month because he never got to the root cause. I have additionally been to naturopaths. And even though 2 of my 3 mentors are naturopaths, they're not all the same.
Yep.
And so unless someone is really doing this metabolic analysis that a 40-year amazing naturopath taught me, he charges $5,000 to do it. So I learned it, and it's what I do when ladies come to work with me. You do it from the comfort of your own home.
Okay, so you can coach folks.
I'm sorry, what's that?
You can, that's good for, so Gianna, you can coach people. If people are listening, they can read your book, but you also have some virtual coaching and some courses. So tell
everything's online. You can get it right now. You can know 14 years of what I know just like this today.
Okay. And tell everyone where they can go. I know there's mastermenopause.com, right? And
mastermenopause.com it's where you get introduced to the principles, and they can be a little overwhelming. So I like to make it step by step. So you have to first change your mindset that you need to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
You need to look at your metabolics and your menu, and you will be good forever. Because it's more important, not just that I lost the weight, I've kept it up for 10 years now.
Yeah.
Effortlessly.
So you eat.
I throw that. I eat like I'm going to a luncheon today. I eat the most of any person whose company I am sitting in.
Well, that's good to know. All right. So if you want to, it's true. There's so much more we're learning, and gut health is really the frontier of, what we're trying to really balance so many things. But I love that you've put it all in one book, How to Get Your Best Body Over 50, even in menopause, without dieting, counting calories, suffering, or HRT. And you've also got mini courses, and you work with folks. So one more time, mastermenopause.com if people are more curious. And we appreciate your time. Anything else you want to leave ladies with?
I would love to run out of ladies to help, because there's 30 million women are going to be in this demographic by 2025. So this is really important for not just so you look good, but when you feel good. When I save a mother who is married, I'm saving her marriage, her family. Some husbands contact me that you don't want to get a divorce at this age. That affects your children. So not only that, but your income and your future. It's very important. It's more than a bikini.
Yes, absolutely. Shout out your podcast too, in case folks want to listen.
It's called Menopause Fockery, F-O-C-K, Fockery. It's a play on words. We can all figure it out. That's the best way to listen to the different topics. I've probably got 60 podcasts out by now.
Okay. And it's, again, your website is mastermenopause.com. Gianna, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Kara.
Have a good day. And for more information, for more information on the cutting edge of wellness, you can go back to other episodes of Kara's Cures. We talk about a lot of ways to master your health, everything on the cutting edge of wellness. You can also follow me on social media at Kara Sundlin. I share this content there. We have a Facebook group called Kara's Cures. You can join that as well. Have a great day, everyone, and be well.